Okay, so now we're going to talk about paid search, and part one is on selecting and organizing your keywords. So again, it might seem that if SEO is conducted properly, that's really all you need to guarantee a top ranking position. Unfortunately, not the case because you're really at the mercy of the search engine and kind of your competitors as well. So you want to make sure you have another tool in place, which is paid search, to ensure you have top billing on the search results page, especially the first page and above the fold. PPC requires a relatively small investment. You can really get yourself set up in a matter of minutes on a paid search campaign. Really doesn't take long at all. And again, it's a good option if you're not getting the kind of traffic that you would like to get through organic. Again, keep in mind that being at the top of both organic and paid search for non-branded search queries will definitely be beneficial. You'll find that your brand association, recall, and purchase considerations all go up through that increase in exposure. There's also another study that Google did that shows that paid search drives 89% incremental traffic. Many people think, well, wait a minute, I'm already at the top on above the fold on page one. Aren't I just going to cannibalize my organic if I jump into paid and it's going to cost me money I shouldn't have to pay? When in fact that's not true. It's really only cannibalizing 11%. 89% is incremental traffic that you would not have got otherwise. So really important. So a great figure for you to consider to do a P&L to see if it's worth it to jump into paid search. Keep in mind, just because you decide you want to pay more per click for a certain keyword doesn't mean you're going to rank higher than your competitor. It also has to do with the quality of your ad. So basically, if you're going to be bidding on the keyword database marketing consultant, Google wants to make sure that that keyword is located in your ad and that those keywords are also found all over the landing page that you're landing the person. If they're not seeing any rhyme or reason with respect to why you're bidding on that keyword, you're going to have a low quality score. And regardless of how much you pay, you are not going to be above the competition. So really your ranking doesn't just depend on the dollars you're willing to pay, it also depends on the quality. Google is not stupid, so keep in mind they want to make sure that if somebody clicks on that ad, that there's a good user experience that is going to happen. Because if there's not, they click on the ad and they land someplace totally different that has to do with the ad or the keyword, then you're not going to come back to Google anymore, and Google's not going to make any money. So again, keep that in mind. I'm sure a lot of you guys have always been reluctant to click on paid search ads, when in reality, you know what, they're actually pretty good. There has to be a high quality component to that. So again, what Google will do is determine your quality score, which is really based on the keyword, ad text, and landing page relevance. Multiply that score by how much you're willing to pay at a max for that keyword, and that depends on your ad ranking. So it's really a 50-50 proposition between your max CPC and your quality. So let's go through a few examples. So let's pretend like advertisers B and C are in play, okay, and they have a ranking number of 0.65 and a ranking number of 0.38. So B is above C because their ranking number is higher. The ranking number is determined by taking the cost per click bid, 65 cents times quality score 1 gives them 0.65, and for advertiser C, it's 0.25 times 1.5 or 0.38, so therefore they're below. So here you come. You're coming in, you're advertiser A, you're willing to pay 40 cents a click. Google gives you a quality score of 1.8, so it multiplies it out, and it says, hey, that's a 0.72, so you go to the top. You'll be above advertiser B. Now, here's what Google will do. Google's a nice guy. They say, you know what, you don't really need a score that high to be above advertiser B. I know you want to be above him based on what you bid, but you know what, you only need a ranking number of 0.66 to be above him. So I'm going to readjust how much I'm going to charge you, given your quality scores of 1.8. And I'm only charge you 37 cents because when I take 37 cents times 1.8, that will give you a 0.66. So Google does not overcharge you. Now, if advertiser B ups their ante a little bit, increases their cost per click bid, then Google will immediately raise you up as well because they know you're willing to go up to 40 cents. So they'll keep you moving up in that top position as long as they can And then once you reach max, they will email you and say, advertiser B has totally outbid you. You're up at that 40-cent max. Do you want to increase it again? Okay, and I also have a video out there for you guys. You guys can watch. And again, I'll let you do that on your own time to take you through that in more detail. And I'll actually do the calculations and show you that as well. So with respect to search results, paid search showing at the top of organic, Google will allow up to 3 companies to have their ads above organic if they meet a certain quality threshold. So sometimes you will not see any companies up there, sometimes you will. So if you see some companies up there at the top above organic, you know that they're of high quality. Google is not going to let anybody there, so they'll reward those that really meet a certain threshold and take them from that right-hand column and pull them up to the top above organic. Calculating share of voice. So a lot of marketing managers in the digital space will also determine their share of voice for certain categories. So if you are monitoring and you're in charge of, let's say, the Crystal Light product category, you do a Google search on sugar-free drinks. So this will show you your share of voice for the sugar-free drink space is basically 18%. So again, keep in mind you need to be consistent when you do this. You need to have the same monitor, same resolution, so you're looking at the same thing. And how we determine that is on that page, we're just looking at the number of times a Crystal Light ad is appearing, and in this case it's 2. And again, we could do this just for paid. We could do it for organic, whatever you want to do over the total number of ads showing, which is 11. So it's 18% is our share of voice for the sugar-free drink space. So this is also how a lot of brand managers would do it in the old traditional world on the shelves at Rite Aid Pharmacy, Walgreens, whatever the case might be, your share of voice or share of space, shelf space for that category. Opening a PPC account, as I said before, is really easy. You'll probably most likely start with Google. Makes sense because they basically have about 65% share of search. You'll write your ad, but again, keep in mind space is limited, so you have to be thinking in terms of writing ads a little bit differently. And I'll give you some advice on that down the road. Keywords for PPC ad have an important function. Getting potential customers to enter the site in order to purchase the products and services that you sell. So you're going to start by brainstorming. You'll choose specific words, not general, because those general keywords are going to be a little more expensive. Don't confuse volume with quality. Don't ignore the low volume words that might be very relevant and yield good conversions. By selecting more specific keywords, you're going to attract higher quality prospects at a lower cost. Some search engines offer suggestions and rankings based on your bids. Top 3 positions are your best. Minimum bid start at about 5 cents. And you can adjust your bidding and how much you're willing to pay based on the time of day, day of week, whatever the case might be. Match keywords and phrases to the product or service provided. Include phrases as well as single words. Start spinning off some permutations of the phrases. Imagine what the prospect or customer might look like. Create phrases in the form of a question. I sometimes search in the form of a question. Use suggestion tools. So the Google Keyword Suggestion tool is great, which I'll show you in a second. Include synonyms. Include common misspellings. So like Sirius radio, for example. Now in organic, Google will spell correct, but they're not going to spell correct and assume you want your ad shown for that misspelling on paid search because you're paying. So if you want your ad to show for that misspelling, then you're going to have to pay for that for when somebody clicks on it. Include brand names, model numbers, and when you're assessing the success of keywords, don't do so based on averages of keyword groups. Again, you want to look at each keyword specifically and maybe even consider unique landing pages for your keyword groups. And I'll talk about that in a second as well. Google trademark policy, kind of interesting. So Google will let you bid on trademark terms like Tiffany. So you can bid. So let's say you have a jewelry website and you're going to jump into paid search. I would certainly bid on the keyword Tiffany wedding rings. So if somebody types it in, boom, there your ad's going to show up over there on the right-hand side. Now, the only caveat is you can't use the word Tiffany in your ad. So I certainly think that sounds great. So why can't I say, hey, I'm over here as well? So introduction to keyword research. So again, proper research and selection helps you establish an effective foundation for most of your online campaigns. So proper keywords deliver relevant traffic to your site and improve your return on investment. Gather, sort, organize. Find your core term, unique 1, 2, 3-word phrases from which other words will stem. So if you sell travel bags, sport bags, duffel bags, etc., then probably your core term is bag, and every other term is going to be spun off from bag. If you sell the same but only for women, then you're going to spin everything off from those two terms: women's bags, women's sports bag, women's duffel, ladies' sports bags, ladies' duffel bags. Write down the purpose of the website. Determine an umbrella phrase that covers the entire scope of the site. The umbrella phrase is kind of the website theme. So a nice little example I like: consider a website that offers detailed information on 65-75 Ford Mustangs, 65-75 Chevy Camaros, 68-75 Dodge Chargers. The website has a couple of reasonable options in terms of core terms. American cars would work, classic cars would work, classic American cars would be better, probably classic American muscle cars would be the best. However, if in addition to the cars above, the website also specialized in info on Dodge Neons, for example, then the theme of the website is going to be totally diluted in such a way now that it's basically coming all the way back down to American cars. In this case, this is a great example of when, if that's the case, and you're going to jump into paid search, you would definitely want to have two separate keyword groups. One keyword group dealing with classic cars and another dealing with the more economical car key term. Review your website intently, rummage through the title, description, tags, etc. After you exhausted your site, again, go take a look at your competitor's site. See what they've got tagged and what their keywords look like. There's tools where you could type websites in and it will come back and give you keyword ideas. So again, the Google Keyword Suggestion Tool is a great example. You can do that. Determine the keywords associated with your website, with your competitor's website. You can understand how competitive the keywords are, how much they're going to cost you, and others that are similar to that. This is what the Google Keyword Suggestion Tool screenshot looks like. So once you're in there, and again, you do have to have an active AdWords account in order to kind of get in and play with this, is you could type in things like golf and women's golf, and then lo and behold, Google will come back and say people who search on golf and women's golf also search on these key terms, which is really great. Notice they're giving you the search volume. They're giving you, if there's any seasonality aspect. There's many other columns you could add here, include costing and competitiveness of the key term. You could also type in a website address, a URL of a website, and it will basically scrape that website and come back and say, this appears to be the keyword themes of that website, and here's some keywords that you might want to consider. So this is where, if you want to become competitive with your competitor and you're jumping into paid search for the first time, I would probably type a few of their website URLs in here and get an idea as to kind of what their focus is. Again, you're going to want to sort the keywords by importance. Use the above tools to help you search volume of your core terms. Those with the highest search volume should probably be given more importance than those with low, but keep in mind that they might be a little more costly and you may not be able to afford those. But don't be afraid to chase the tail of those lower volume keywords, as again, they might convert at a more high rate. So those long tail sort of key search terms, again, are often associated with those individuals that are way down the purchase funnel. Somebody searching for SUV is just at the stages of figuring out what are the options of SUV, versus somebody who searches for Ford SUV, white 18-inch rims, V8 automatic. I mean, they're pretty specific. They know exactly what they want. They might be ready to bite and convert. Then what you're going to want to do once you have your keywords is to organize those. So that's exactly what I was talking about before. So if you have a website that's dealing with classic cars and economical cars, you're going to jump into paid search. I don't think you could have one ad and one landing page that's going to effectively deal with that. You would probably want to have 2 sets of keywords, 2 unique ads, and 2 unique landing pages for that to ensure the highest conversion rate all the way around. And that will also give you a higher quality score, which means you will probably have to pay less for those keywords to appear in the same position you would otherwise. Again, how a brand manager might look at things. So let's pretend like you're managing the Philly brand. Again, they might group up their keywords as branded terms, top category terms, how-to videos, new products, promotions, crisis management, seasonal, and recipe. Now, when I talk about crisis management, again, a perfect example might be the Toyota braking recall incident. So again, it's a set of terms that you're going to be jumping into to deal with that particular issue. And what was interesting about that is it took Toyota, when that occurred a few years ago, about 4 days to jump into paid search. They realized that they were having an issue. SEO was not going to give them the landing page showing up there at top results that quickly when somebody typed in Toyota recall information. So therefore they realized they were going to have to jump into paid search to satisfy consumers searching for that page on their website. So that is another benefit of paid search advertising.